6 days after we buried my mother. My brother changed the locks. My daughter's sneakers were soaking in the rain. Her stuffed rabbit, face down in a puddle. And my brother stood in the doorway of a house that's been in this family since 1890. And told me I was nobody. Girls marry out, Brooke. You should have learned that a long time ago. He said he'd made sure I'd get nothing. He was wrong. Because there was one final section of that will. And when the lawyer read it out loud, my brother hit the floor. Welcome back to Hidden Family Revenge, where quiet people finally get the last word, and the paperwork does the shouting. If your family ever made you feel like the spare child, the one they forgot to count, this one's for you. Drop a comment. Tell me where you're watching from. Now let's go back to the beginning. Hartwell, Ohio. Population 8,000. The kind of town where people know your grandfather's name, your credit score, and which pew you sit in on Sundays. My name is Brooke Calloway. I'm 35. My great-grandfather started Calloway & Son Woodworks in 1947. The sign still hangs on 3rd Street, hand-carved walnut. My father, Dale Calloway, ran that shop for 31 years. Good with his hands. Terrible with his daughters. And there was only one daughter. Me. Then there was Connor, 6 years older. The firstborn son. The one whose name fit the sign. Growing up, the rule was simple. Connor went to the shop after school. I went to the kitchen. Connor learned to read blueprints. I learned to make casseroles and keep quiet. My father had one phrase he repeated like a prayer. The land stays with the Calloway son. Girls marry out. He said it the way you'd say the sun rises in the east. Not cruel. Just fact. I left Hartwell at 18 with a duffel bag and a flat carpenter's pencil my father had given me when I was 9. He'd tucked it behind my ear one afternoon and said, "There. Now you look like a Calloway." It was the only time he ever said that to me. I put myself through Ohio State. Accounting degree. Then a master's in forensic accounting. That's the kind of work where you follow money through fake companies and shell accounts. Until you find the person who thought they were smarter than the spreadsheet. I was good at it. Really good. By 26, I was untangling fraud cases that made the evening news. By 29, I'd started my own firm, Calloway Forensic Group. 3 employees. Then 8. Then 22. Built above a sandwich shop on High Street. Built alone. Back home, Connor called it the calculator job. My father called it something to do until you settle down. At family dinners, when I mentioned closing a 7-figure fraud case for a Fortune 500 client, my father would say, "That's nice, Brooke. Pass the rolls." So I stopped mentioning it. By 2023, when I sold my majority stake in the firm, my net worth was over $5 million. My family thought I rented a 1-bedroom apartment because I couldn't afford better. Nobody ever asked. My father died 14 months ago. Heart attack. Standing at the planer in the shop on a Tuesday morning. I got the call at my desk. My business partner drove me to Hartwell because my hands wouldn't stop shaking. When I arrived, Connor was already in the living room. Blazer on. Accepting condolences. Shaking hands with men from the Rotary Club. I handled everything else. The funeral home. The death certificates. The insurance calls. The church bulletin. My mother, Ruth, was too hollowed out to function. Connor was too busy being the grieving son in public to do any of the grieving son work in private. That's my flaw, if you want to call it one. I see a gap, I fill it. I see a job nobody wants, I take it. After the funeral, my mother had a private meeting with the estate attorney, Raymond Vance. She came back quieter than usual. But steadier. Like someone who'd set something down. I asked if she was okay. Your father's affairs are complicated, she said. Raymond is sorting it out. I didn't push. 6 weeks later, my mother had a stroke in her garden. The neighbor found her face down in the marigolds. She died 3 hours later. And at her funeral, my brother stood at the pulpit for 12 minutes, and didn't say my name once. But what came next, nobody in that family saw coming. 6 days after we buried my mother, Connor called me. I was in the kitchen making oatmeal for my daughter, Nora. I need you out by Friday, he said. No hello. No how are you? The house is mine. Dad made that clear for 30 years. Probate is a formality. I said, we haven't had the reading yet. There's nothing to read. The land stays with the Calloway son. You left. I stayed. End of discussion. I could hear his wife, Sloane, in the background. Her voice bright and sharp, tell her Friday at the latest, babe. I gripped the counter. Nora was watching me from the table, spoon halfway to her mouth. Then you'll leave with nothing, Connor said. Hope you enjoy being homeless with Brooke. I made sure you get nothing. He hung up. That evening, when I tried my key on the front door, the lock had already been changed. The boxes were on the porch. 3 cardboard boxes. Cheap ones from the hardware store. Nora's clothes. My suitcase. My mother's recipe tin, the one with index cards in her handwriting going back 40 years. All of it sitting in half an inch of rainwater. Sloane opened the front door holding a glass of wine like she was hosting a gallery opening. Oh, she said. You're still here. I asked where Nora's books were. This isn't really her home, Brooke. She's visited, 4 times? She said it like a 7-year-old needed to earn her place in her grandmother's house. I felt something lock into position behind my ribs. Not anger. Clarity. You can keep the locks, I said. You can keep every room in this house. But you will not speak about my daughter again. That's not a request. Sloane stepped back inside and closed the door. I got in the car. Nora was holding her damp stuffed rabbit. Where are we going, Mom? I didn't have an answer yet. I just drove. We stayed at the Riverview Motel on Route 7. $49 a night. 2 double beds. A microwave. A window facing the parking lot. Nora thought it was an adventure. She asked if we could order pizza. I said yes, because I couldn't say anything else without my voice cracking. 3 days later, my Aunt Carol showed up unannounced with potato soup and an agenda. Brooke, honey, I know this feels unfair. But this is how it's always been. Boys keep the land. Girls marry out. She told me she'd once given up her share of her grandfather's farm, 40 acres. Signed it over to her brother because that was expected. And you know what? I survived. You will too. She said it like survival was the ceiling. Like a woman's highest ambition should be to endure the theft with grace. Did you want those 40 acres, Carol? She blinked. For half a second, something honest moved across her face. Old anger. Old loss. The kind that calcifies into acceptance because the alternative is too heavy. It doesn't matter what I wanted, she said. It matters what works. She left the soup. She left her advice. And I understood, Carol wasn't just enabling the tradition. She was its oldest casualty. Meanwhile, Connor sold my father's tools. Every hand plane. Every draw knife. 30 years of carefully maintained steel. Sold like yard sale junk. But there was one thing left, shoved against the back wall. My father's old green metal toolbox. Dented lid. Brass latch. The will had specifically left it to me. The only thing with my name on it. I walked into that shop, past Connor counting cash, and I picked it up. Take it, he said. It's junk anyway. Just like everything else he left you. The toolbox was heavier than I expected. Something shifted inside when I set it in the trunk. A metallic scrape, like an object sliding against the tin lining. I didn't open it yet. I should have. Because what was inside that toolbox changed everything. Thursday. 10 a.m. Raymond Vance's office. 3rd Street. The stairwell smelled like old paper and lemon oil. His desk, walnut, built by my grandfather. Connor and Sloane sat across from me, straight-backed and confident. They'd already remodeled the kitchen. Ripped out my grandfather's maple cabinets, dovetail joints, built to last a century, and replaced them with flat-pack catalog pieces. Sloane had posted photos. New chapter. Honoring the legacy by making it ours. Raymond Vance read the standard sections first. The house and shop to Connor. The accounts split. Connor leaned back. A small, satisfied smile. Then Raymond turned the page. There is a final provision. Added by Tom Calloway 14 months ago, following a review of estate liabilities. The room went quiet. The 18 acres along the river, including the boathouse, known in the family as the River Place, are subject to a conditional clause. Before this asset can be awarded, both named beneficiaries must submit a verified financial statement, certified, documented proof of financial stability. The asset will be awarded to whichever party demonstrates they can hold the land without mortgaging, leveraging, or losing it to creditors. Connor's smile didn't move. That's fine, he said. I run a business. I have assets. Raymond nodded slowly. Mr. Calloway, your firm currently carries $340,000 in secured debt. You have 2 outstanding liens, and your personal guarantee on a commercial loan your father co-signed is in default status. The smile faded. Ms. Calloway, Raymond turned to me. Your submission? I slid the folder across the desk. Clean. Certified. Audited. Net worth, $5.2 million. 0 personal debt. No liens. No encumbrances. The room was absolutely silent. Connor stared at the folder. Then he looked at me, really looked at me, maybe for the first time in his life. You. He started. The calculator job, I said quietly. Raymond cleared his throat. The 18 acres, the boathouse, and the river frontage are hereby awarded to Brooke Calloway, per the terms of Thomas Calloway's final will. Connor stood up. He didn't say anything. He just stood up. And then he sat back down. Because his legs wouldn't hold him. That evening, I finally opened the toolbox. Underneath the chisels and the hand plane, at the very bottom, was a sealed envelope. My name on the front. In my father's handwriting. Inside was a single note card. Brooke, I know I said the land stays with the son. I was wrong about a lot. Your mother helped me see it. The River Place belongs to whoever can hold it. I think we both know who that is. Dad tucked beneath the note card, the flat carpenter's pencil, not the one he'd given me at 9. A new one. Still sharp. And on the side, in permanent marker, in his handwriting. For when you come home. I sat on the motel bed and I cried. Not because I won. Not because Connor lost. But because my father had changed his mind, quietly, too late to say it to my face, and my mother had carried that secret all the way to her grave, making sure the right person held those keys. Nora and I walked the River Place the next morning. She ran ahead through the sycamores toward the boathouse, arms out, yelling. Mom! The River Place is ours. And I stood there in the mud with a carpenter's pencil in my pocket. And I thought. The loudest person in the room is not always the one you should trust with the keys. Some people spend their whole lives shouting about what they're owed. And some people just build. Quietly. Steadily. Until the day the numbers speak for themselves. If you've ever been the one who stayed quiet while someone else took credit. If you've ever been the spare child, the wrong name, the one they forgot to count. Keep building. The will always gets read eventually.